Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Story Behind the Photograph. My name is Casey Grimley, and I'm here to tell you about the story behind this photograph here that you see behind me, or there on the screen. So this is a composite, obviously, of a Perseid meteor shower from 2016, I believe it was. This is looking over Pineview Reservoir in Ogden Valley, and this is a fun photo. I had seen previous photos where photographers had set up their cameras to take a time lapse and capture as many meteors as they could, and then composite them into one single photo. So that's kind of what my idea was for this photo. So that night, I think that year it happened on a Tuesday or a Wednesday or something like that, was when the peak of the meteor shower was. And several of my photographer friends were making plans for where they were going to go, and I was kind of keeping quiet, thinking, hoping that I would just kind of go off shoot by myself. And then one of my friends sent me a message and said, "Hey, where's a good place to go?" And I said, "Hey, I'm actually going up to this spot that I've scoped out for up by Pineview. I'm just going to shoot there across the water." And one of my original ideas was to get a kayak or something like that and have somebody sit in it and get a picture of them sitting in the kayak and then kind of blending in the shooting stars above. So that was kind of the original idea for the photo. The problem was I think it was a little windy that night, and so the kayak thing didn't work out because it was a little choppy. The water was, and also trying to get the kayak to stay in one place was pretty difficult. So I kind of scratched that idea, and there was a bunch of people down there, and I just wanted to set up my tripod and go to sleep. And my friend and a couple of people he invited were there to like hang out and talk and stuff. And I had to work the next morning, so I was like, I'm gonna go check out another spot and set up my camera. It was in the same area. It was just up the hill from them. So I went and I set up my cameras. I actually had two. So I had my Sony A7 with my 14mm Rokinon lens set up, and that's what I captured here in this photo. So I set that up and kind of faced it northeast a little bit. I think it was pretty much straight north. And then the second camera I faced a little bit more east, and that was with I think it was my A6000 and like a 24mm. No, I had a 17 to 35 millimeter. So it was capturing about 20, I don't know, what is that, 27 millimeters or something, full frame equivalent. So I had set that up and got those going, and then I kind of set up my sleeping arrangements, and I was just going to sleep by my tripod and just kind of fall asleep to the shooting stars. So I went back. I left my sleeping bag and stuff in the car, so I went back to the car while the cameras were going. And I get back to the car and realize that I left my sleeping bag and my sleeping pad at home. I thought, well, this isn't good. So I grabbed what I had in my car, which was a prison blanket from the time that I spent in prison. Just kidding. That was from my father-in-law gave me. He was a sheriff, and so he had a bunch of these emergency blankets or jail blankets, and so he gave us a bunch for in our car or whatever. So I grabbed that. I think I had two of them, and I grabbed both of those. I laid one down underneath me, and then the other one was my blanket that I slept under. And these are not warm or soft or plush blankets at all. In fact, they're very thin and not very warm. So I kind of figured, well, this is what I'll make do with. So I ended up falling asleep for a little bit, and every couple hours I'd wake up and kind of check my cameras. Things were still looking good. And it was probably around, I think that it was starting to get some light out. And so it was probably, I don't know, maybe 5 o'clock in the morning or something. And there was just starting to get a little bit of light. So I kind of had woken up, and I woke up to the strongest smell ever. There was a skunk, and the skunk was, I mean, it was the most, I don't know how to describe it, the most pungent skunk smell I've ever smelled. Like, I've smelled some skunks that like freshly got ran over or have been on the road for, you know, for a week or whatever, and they just stink. So this was worse. And I thought, oh man, and I was underneath the blankets and I was laying there and I could hear the skunk. It was shuffling around in the weeds around me. And I just laid there and I was like, my heart was racing and I was like, I think I was probably sweating at this point, but I was just laying there and I thought either I got sprayed by a skunk or it's like marking its territory around me and now it's going to spray me or something. But it was terrible. And I thought, oh man, I'm done. I got to go to work in a couple of hours and I'm going to smell like a skunk. This is not good. So I lay there for, I don't know, 4 hours it seemed. It was probably about a minute and a half. And I heard the skunk kind of walk away. So I thought, okay, I can peek out of my sheets and see, see if I got sprayed or kind of check myself. And so I did. I kind of got up and looked around and checked out my blanket and everything. And kind of as that skunk went away, the smell went away too. So I was good. I didn't get sprayed by a skunk, though it smelled really bad. I was safe. I didn't have to go to work smelling like a skunk. So fast forward, the sun kind of came up, and I ended up going to work. I think I got maybe 4 or 5 hours of sleep, which wasn't too bad. It wasn't good sleep, but it was, here or there. So I packed up my camera stuff, hopped in the car, drove home, showered, and then went straight to work. I think I maybe, at the time, I had sat in my car after I got to the car or something, or when I got home, and I just went through my photos real quick, and I counted how many, just kind of went through the pictures to see if I got some pretty good coverage or a bunch of shooting stars. And I think I went through initially and counted about 120, 125 something initially on the back of my camera. And that was one camera. So the second one probably caught some overlap, but there was, I think there was maybe 30 more 30 unique stars that I caught on the second camera, which to this day, this was 4 years ago, I still haven't even really looked at the photos on that one on the computer. So eventually I might create another composite like this with the other camera and with those, but it's a lot of work to compile this. It probably took me, I want to say 16 to 20 hours to go through all the photos, find the ones that have a shooting star, bring those into Photoshop, mask everything out, erase it, do all that. So it was quite a process to stitch these, blend these all together in Photoshop. And so once I did, I think I actually did it probably about 3 or 4 months later, either over my Thanksgiving break or over Christmas break is when I ended up making this photo. Once I did that and shared it, my friend Ian that went with me sent me a message after I posted it or comment on my photo or something and said, "Hey, so did you rotate the stars? Did you rotate each star so that the position of it was true to what your background photo is, the photo with all the stars that you see?" And I went, no, I just left them where they were. And he goes, "Oh, well, if you want to get technical about it, you're supposed to rotate them each a certain degree and stuff to get them to originate from the same point, which is Perseus. I don't know, the constellation Perseus." And I thought, I just spent 20 hours stitching this photo together and masking out and erasing around each shooting star. I'm like, I'm not I'm not going back to fix this and rotate each and every frame, because it was, like I said, I think there ended up being a little less than 120. There was a lot of satellites and airplanes and things like that that my original pass through, I thought they were shooting stars. And even still, I look at some of these and I go, oh, I think that might have been actually a satellite, but I'm going to put in there for effect or whatever, because you got to embellish a little bit. Yeah, I told him, I said, I'm not going back to edit those, because that would be, I don't even know how, because I wasn't just masking out the shooting stars, I was actually erasing it, because I didn't want the file size to be astronomically huge. So I was like, well, I'm not going to do that now. But in the future, if I do another one like this, I will do that, and I'll rotate each photo to line up with the origin of where they kind of originate from, which is the constellation Perseus or Perseid, whichever, I can't remember what it is. That's kind of the story there behind the photograph. It was a lot of fun to make this. The story was kind of fun. Getting scared by a skunk was not fun, though I can say I guess I survived, a close encounter with a skunk. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that story. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, give me a rating on iTunes, whatever, if you enjoyed this. See you guys next time. Bye.